What's up, guys? It's your girl Chelsea, the wannabe Hecate, back again for another episode of Analyzing Celebrity Birth Charts. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about someone who I enjoy very much, Snooki. She's famous for being on Jersey Shore, so you probably know of her if you don't watch Jersey Shore. But if you do watch Jersey Shore and you're like me, you love her to death. I think Snooki's great. She's so funny. She's something about her. She's so tenacious, you know? Like, she has a very determined attitude. I guess some people would say stubborn, but she's life of the party, obviously. And we'll get into that, all of that in her chart. I did have some housekeeping stuff that I wanted to go over before I get started. I wanted to thank you guys for all the love on the last episode of Analyzing Celebrity Birth Charts, which was Chris Evans. I did not expect it to be as popular as it was, but then when it got so many views, I was like, oh, okay, well, it's Chris Evans, so I guess it makes sense. There was a lot of controversy with it since I had used a different time from the one that is more widely accepted and what is known as his most accurate birth time. I didn't find that time until after I had already done my other video, and it would have taken me a lot of time to rewrite it and reshoot it, and I had already been gone for so long on my YouTube hiatus that I just went ahead and just did that video, and I liked how it came out. And if anything, I figured I could revisit Chris's chart in the future and explain the differences between the chart that I did. I can't remember the time on the chart I had, but apparently the most widely accepted time for his birth is 6:16 p.m. and I can revisit that in the future. For now, I wanted to go ahead and move forward since I've already gotten a couple more requests to do other people, and I was excited to do this episode, to do Snooki. She's a Sagittarius. She actually just had her birthday yesterday as of when I'm filming this. So I was just excited to do someone for Sag season and to do a female for certain. I try to keep it balanced on doing guys and girls. And since the last two episodes were guys, I wanted to make sure I did a girl. With that being said, someone did request Shawn Mendes. So that will be the next episode after this one. I wanted them to know that I am working on that one. Now, the other thing I wanted to go over housekeeping wise is kind of has to do with what I already talked about with the Chris Evans video as far as doing celebrities that don't have accurate birth times. Doing celebrities that have absolutely no birth time at all, like Shawn Mendes. I can't find a time for him anywhere, and I also couldn't find a time for Snooki. So what I've decided to do to avoid making any mistakes or, you know, perhaps lessening the amount of potential mistakes I could make, I will from now on only be talking about the planets in the signs for those people. I will not be discussing their house placements. If I have a pretty good idea of the person, I'll guess their rising sign. If I don't have a very good idea of how they are, as in like Shawn Mendes, I don't really know a lot about him, so I don't think I'll be able to guess his rising sign, but I will invite other people who are into astrology, who know about my videos, and who maybe like that celebrity more than me. We can talk about what they think their house placements might be and speculate on that kind of stuff. I love to do that, and I love to like nerd out and guess things like that, especially for fictional characters too. It's like really fun to me. So yeah, from now on, when I do a celebrity who does not have an accurate birth time, I will only be talking about their planets and what signs they're in. So it makes for a shorter video. It'll be a little lighter, I think, than the more in-depth ones that I do where I have a time and I can go into all of the planets, the signs, where those planets are in the chart and things like that. I hope that the way I explain that makes sense. I'm gonna just bulldoze through all of that. So yeah, for episode 10, ooh, haha, 10, that's so exciting. We are talking about Snooki, her real name Nicole Polizzi, and of course she is famous, as I said, for Jersey Shore. That was her claim to fame, and that is what brought her up, and she is still getting her bag, and I respect her for it. As I said, Snooki does not have an accurate birth time, so I will only be discussing her sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and what signs those are in. I have a pretty good idea of Snooki because I do like Jersey Shore and I have watched it, so I will also be guessing her rising sign and talking about what house placement she would have if she did have that rising sign, because I did also take that into account when I was trying to decide what I thought it might be, but I'll get more into that when I get to that part of the video. Snooki is a Sagittarius queen, and we know that Sagittarians are very free-spirited and they are very expansive minds, always looking toward the horizon and wanting to experience something new, always looking for variety. They're very free and adventurous spirits. They get bored with routine. They get bored doing the same things. Independence and freedom are very important to Sagittarians, and they always need to feel like they have room to grow. They don't want to feel like boxed or caged in. They like frequent changes of scenery. Sagittarians also have a tendency to believe in their own luck and kind of just have faith in like things just working out in life. Sagittarians are one of the more straightforward and brutally honest signs of the zodiac. They can sometimes have problems with being too blunt. They don't like do it on purpose. It's more of like an accident thing. They're like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that." They can be extravagant, they can be reckless, they are a fire sign, so they get spicy, but they are very good entertainers, very good conversationalists. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is like the good luck planet in astrology. It brings good influence and benefits, and since it rules Sagittarians, it's said that Sagittarian people tend to have that kind of right place, right time thing going on for them. Snooki has her moon in Capricorn. This can be a challenging placement to have just because the moon is all about your emotions and your inner world, and Capricorn can be a more rigid sign. Capricorns can struggle with expressing that emotion, and when the moon goes into the sign of Capricorn, it becomes kind of complex and it struggles there. So it's said that people with Capricorn moon tend to have to overcome obstacles within their own nature to achieve the happiness that they're looking for. It's just what is the word I'm looking for? I'll come up with it later after I'm done filming this video. As I said, Capricorns, they can be rigid. They're very straightforward in their thinking. A Capricorn moon is going to have a strong desire for realistic boundaries and very clear and well-defined goals for them to be working toward. They like to plan for their old age a lot. Protecting their interests comes naturally to them. They're always working for security and stability, which is a theme for all of the earth signs, not just Capricorns. And I feel like some of y'all might be thinking, well, this doesn't really apply to Snooki because she does seem, you know, a little irresponsible on Jersey Shore, but when you think about it, she was getting that bag and she was securing a future by being irresponsible and partying, so I respect her. Capricorn moons are mountains of strength. They can be kind of hard on themselves. That's a Capricorn thing. As I said, they can have trouble expressing emotions, and they might hide their feelings or their sensitivity behind like their sarcasm or like a dry sense of humor. Money is usually important to Capricorn moons, as it is to most of the earth signs. Cap moons tend to put a lot of value in things that are tangible and real, you know, like what they can hold and have. They have like an instinct for getting to know the right people. This was a recurring theme in Snooki's chart that I noticed, since I already said about her Sag sun that she's got that Jupiter influence that kind of puts her in the right place at the right time. And then of course, getting to know the right people with the Cap moon would kind of go in line with that. One thing that Capricorn moons do have to be careful of is like single-mindedness. They put all of their energy into one direction on one goal, working for it, and if it doesn't end up working out, it can really bum them out, and then they kind of feel directionless and lost because they were so certain about that one thing. They kind of have to learn to spread out a little and maybe, you know, put their eggs in more than one basket, I think is how that saying goes. Snooki has her Mercury in Scorpio, and when I saw this in her chart, I felt like it made a lot of sense from what I know of her on Jersey Shore. Scorpio Mercuries are always reading between the lines, and they have very, very strong powers of observation. They want to get to the heart of things. They're not afraid to get into the things that other people don't want to get into. With that being said, they can also be stubborn. They're very determined in their pursuit. If they want to know something, that, you know, they're going to find it out. This is how it is with a Mercury in Scorpio. Scorpio Mercuries can possibly have a volatile temper, which we have seen with Snooki on Jersey Shore. They have very, very biting sarcasm, especially when they're upset, which I did already mention the sarcasm coming in with her Capricorn moon as well. Scorpio Mercuries are very passionate when it comes to their speech, since that's what Mercury is all about, communication, how we you know, get our point across. And Scorpio is one of the most intense and passionate signs in the zodiac. So Scorpio Mercury will usually like to give advice or be pretty good with words when they are giving advice, good with helping the other person, you know, feel better and get the point across that they're trying to make at the same time. They're also very passionate when it comes to defending the people that they love, or really anything they care about. It doesn't even have to be like people they love. It could. Scorpio Mercuries are also very good at strategy. They are very driven to win. So their mental energy is very strong. Should be mentioned though that their judgment is going to shine best in situations that they're not involved in. If they are involved in the situation, their judgment gets clouded by the like personal bias, if you will. When it comes to like them giving advice or, you know, them strategizing on what to do, it's the clearest when they're helping someone else out, as opposed to looking at their own stuff. It might get a little more cloudy just because Scorpio is a water sign, and so feelings are very important to them, and feelings can come into the mix and I didn't want to say mess things up, but you know, they just kind of throw a monkey wrench into stuff sometimes. Snooki's Venus is in Sagittarius, just like her sun. As I already said before when I was talking about her sun, Sagittarians value their freedom and their independence a lot, and that's also going to be a recurring theme when it goes into Venus. When it's in the planet of love and relationships, it's gonna kind of need that freedom and independence in the relationship. You need like room to grow. You don't want to feel boxed in, as I already said before. It can take a while sometimes for a Sag Venus to commit, just because they don't want to feel like they're sacrificing that freedom that I talked about. When it comes to relationships and the person that they're into, a Sag Venus wants to experience new things with them, wants to teach them new things or learn new things alongside them. Sag Venus is another placement that attracts influential friends. As I said, this is a theme in Snooki's birth chart. A lot of her placements reinforce that she is very good at befriending influential people, or just, you know, just getting to know the right people or being in the right place at the right time. Sag Venuses are very friendly, very flirtatious. They usually have like very big smiles or big laughs. They have a very high spirit of adventure, which is just a Sagittarian thing in general. They can be kind of a confusing mix of like lighthearted and serious, just because like Sags are all about having fun at the end of the day, and that's what's most important to them. But Sagittarius is also the sign associated with like philosophy and higher learning and expansiveness, like I said before. So at the same time, you know, they can sit down and get into the deep stuff with you. Whenever the going gets tough or something goes wrong in like the relationship or, you know, with the person that they're with, Sag Venuses usually want to escape. It doesn't necessarily mean they want to like ghost or anything like that. They just need to like get away from the situation and get space. And then, you know, maybe they'll come back to it later. And I just immediately thought of like the times when she would want to like leave and go home, or like when they were in Italy and she wanted to leave. I just thought about, you know, all the girls kind of did that. They were like, oh, I gotta go, I want to leave. But like, it just kind of stuck out to me when I wrote that down in all my notes. I don't think I've ever showed you guys my notes. They're a mess. Like me. Snooki's Mars is in Libra, Mars being the planet of ambition, our drive, how we go after what we want. When it goes into Libra, it gets a little more docile, since Libra is a peaceful sign that doesn't really like confrontation. We know that this is not true of Snooki from how we have seen her on Jersey Shore, but so Libra Mars can get very caught up in defending other people. That's very important to them, that everyone is treated fairly and equally. That's a hallmark of Libra placements in general. Ultimately, Libra Mars people just want things to be peaceful, but unfortunately they can kind of stir things up while they're trying to keep that peace sometimes. They're trying to like balance everything, and in trying to do that, you know, something comes out of whack, because it can't all always be perfect. But as I said, a Libra Mars is always fighting for fairness, always wanting others to be treated equally, and making sure that people are being fair-minded. That's what they're always looking out for. They're usually very good with like conflict management and mediating. A Libra Mars is just going to tend to spend a lot of their energy on their emotional relationships and like just what's going on with them. That's what gets a lot of their attention and energy. One thing Libra Mars people may have to be careful of is like being passive aggressive, just because like I said, they don't really like confrontation. And they also have to be kind of careful of procrastination, because with Libra, since it's the scales, Libra placements like to weigh pros and cons usually. So while they're weighing out options, you know, they can kind of procrastinate on making a decision. It's not going to take me very long to talk about Jupiter and Saturn, since I don't have house placements for this one. Jupiter and Saturn are what are referred to as generational planets. They take longer to go through the signs than the personal planets, which is the ones we just discussed, like Mercury and Venus. Since they take longer to go through the signs, you tend to have your Jupiter and Saturn in the same sign as other people from your generation, therefore them being called generational planets. So your house placement is more important with Jupiter and Saturn because that is more individualized to you based on the time you were born. I feel like I did a really good job explaining that. I like to high five myself sometimes. So Snooki's Jupiter is in Aries. These people have a very life is what you make it mentality. Jupiter is like the good luck planet, and wherever it goes in your chart is said to be where you feel luckier or where you might have more breaks, or just like the kind of right place, right time thing I was talking about tends to be in that area where Jupiter is in your chart. Aries Jupiter people tend to attract the fortune that Jupiter brings whenever they take the lead, since that's what Aries is about as a sign. Aries Jupiters are natural leaders. They don't tend to like taking orders from other people. They also like competition a lot. They're very confident, very enthusiastic, and they are also good at winning over influential people, like I said, with like 4 of the other placements at this point, I think, in Snooki's chart. Snooki's Saturn is in Sagittarius, like her Sun and her Venus. Saturn being the planet of self-control, limitation. Wherever Saturn goes in our chart, it's said to teach us more lessons and make us work harder in that area of our life. When Saturn, which is a very like rigid planet, Saturn, you know, I already talked about Capricorn and rigidity. Saturn and Capricorn go hand in hand. They are best friends. Saturn is ruled by Capricorn. And so it, like Capricorn, can be rigid. And Sagittarius is a very fun-loving sign. When Saturn goes here, it gets a little confused, and there is a kind of conflict between their need for order that comes with Saturn and the desire for like adventure that Sagittarius brings into the mix. Saturns like to work by their own rules. They tend to want to know like the why behind things. They won't generally act until they feel like they have all the information that they need. They have very strong ideals, a very strong sense of fairness. One thing that Saturns might struggle with is a need to learn to be easier on themselves. And I feel like with Snooki also having a Capricorn moon, that might be something that she struggles with. Maybe like being a perfectionist a little bit, or just like being really hard on herself, you know, having high expectations for herself. I feel like a lot of us might not think of that when we see how she is on Jersey Shore, but if you look at Snooki outside of Jersey Shore, she's smart, you know. She's become a businesswoman, and she's doing things for herself, and she has her family, and she's successful, you know. Yeah, she acted crazy back then, but you know, she did what she needed to do, and I would say now she's doing very well for herself. So props to you, Snooki. I love you. I did say that since I know a lot about Snooki, well, a lot, that I would guess her rising sign, and I do believe that Snooki is a Gemini rising. Gemini rising people they're just born entertainers. They like to be in the spotlight. They're fun, and they're crazy. I don't want to say they're crazy, but like, you know, the life of the party thing that Snooki brings in is very Gemini rising to me. Like, I didn't even really have to think about it that hard when I like asked myself what I thought, you know, her rising sign was. And then I went ahead and like drew my little pie chart and was counting and going, oh, you know, what planets are where. If she does have Gemini rising, that puts her Jupiter in her 10th house, which is just a good placement for celebrities in general, since like I said before, Jupiter is like a good luck influence, and the 10th house is going to be the house of career, the house of public image. She may have some other kind of influence going on in the public image house, though, now that I think about it. I'm not really sure what it might be. Maybe like Chiron or something. If she does have Gemini rising, this is also going to put her Sun, her Venus, and probably her Saturn all over in her 7th house, and they're going to be opposing her ascendant, which would bring in some tension to those areas, which the 7th house is the house of relationships and love, and having her Sun and Venus there brings a lot of that relationship influence into her life. It makes relationships very important to her. And having Saturn in there as well is going to bring a little more what I talked about earlier with how Saturn, you know, makes us work harder, makes us feel a little more restricted. Her moon would go into her 8th house. The 8th house is very enigmatic, but it's an intense house, and it would be a very intense placement to have your moon there, to have your emotional world in a house like the 8th house, which is just so, it covers so many things, but mostly like rebirth and transformation. But yeah, I really do think that Snooki is a Gemini rising, and I could be wrong. If you want to guess, or you have a better idea of what you think her rising sign might be, please let me know in the comments. That would be really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I like talking about Snooki. I liked looking at her chart. It was fun to do a celebrity that didn't have house placements. It felt a little bit easier on me when I was writing the video, so I'll be doing more like that. And of course, if you guys, you know, keep making requests, I'll obviously do those as well. I did have Shawn Mendes is going to be episode 11, so be on the lookout for that. I do still do the birth chart readings, if you watch this video and you wanted to know more about your own birth chart, kind of like how I talked about Snooki's, I do those, and you can just DM me over on Instagram if you're interested. I don't do videos of them, I just type them up in a Word document for you. But yeah, it is pretty fun to learn a little bit more about yourself, and assuming that you know what time you were born, I can tell you all about your planetary signs and house placements and all that jazz. So yeah, if you guys ever have any questions about anything I say in my videos or anything like that, please feel free to leave me a comment or shoot me an email. Well, I do take a while to get back sometimes just because my brain is like mush, but I get back eventually. I'm doing my best, just like everybody else. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're being safe out there in the big crazy world. I'm probably going to be trying to put out more episodes of celebrity birth charts from here on out, but I will still be doing the other videos I was doing. I think the next one would be Venus in the houses, I think. Like I said on my last video, I do want to get back into the habit of posting more. So please be on the lookout for more stuff from me. If you haven't checked out the other episodes of Analyzing Celebrity Birth Charts, you should. They're pretty fun, and I've done some pretty fun people like Drake and Ariana Grande and Keanu Reeves. So yeah, please feel free to check out my channel if you're at all interested, and it means a lot to me that you took the time to check me out and had this little sit down with me. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know how to end videos. Love you, bye.